I've waited for Aaron Rodgers long enough. Let's talk about free agency. What's going on, guys? Dick Support here, back to another video. Today, I'm going over the best moves of free agency and the most questionable at each position. Now, some rules. I'm not including any trades. So you're not going to see Geno Smith going to the Raiders. I am not including players that were released. No Devontae Adams to the Rams. And I'm not going to include players that were given extensions that still had years left on their contract. So, you're not going to see Jamar Chase on this list. But you could see T. Higgins because Higgins was a free agent and was given the franchise tag. Those kind of extensions, they're okay to me. We're going to jump right in with the quarterbacks. And I gotta admit, quarterback was kind of the toughest one when it comes to the best because there's not a lot of top moves. We saw Sam Darnold go to the Seahawks, but I see that as being equally a good move and having a lot of questions, so not really one or the other with that. Russell Wilson going to the Giants, I think that's a good one-year gap stop if the Giants don't want to go quarterback in this draft, or if quarterbacks go 1-2 and they end up having to take Carter or Hunter, which even though I think that would be good for this team, just a backup plan for when that happens. And the Jets getting Justin Fields, I'll talk more about that later. But I'm going to go back to the Giants, and I'm actually going to go with Jameis Winston signing a one-year, $4 million deal. And this is why. Winston's just a good backup. And having him be the backup behind Russell Wilson, who the last few years has been struggling and really was not good for the Steelers during the last part of the season, just having him, he's a fun player to watch. I think he's going to be great in that Giant locker room. So I really do like this pick. And again, these are going to be my selections. You guys are more than welcome to let me know your selections down in the comments below. I'm just going to give you my picks for this. Now, for the most questionable, it's Fields signing the 2-year, $40 million deal with the Jets. And I'm a big Justin Fields supporter. I really like him as an NFL player. But I gotta admit, I don't know if this is going to work out. And this has everything to do with the New York Jets and the fact that they have struggled at the quarterback position really since Joe Namath left. I just don't know if this is going to work out for him. I know it's a new head coach. It's going to be new. Everything with the Jets going into 2025. But at the same time, this is a franchise that has just struggled years and years ever since they won the Super Bowl back in the late 60s. That's how long they've struggled as a team. And yeah, they've had some good quarterback seasons along the way, but it's just been hard for them to lock down that position. And again, I just don't know if this is going to work out for Fields. I really hope it does work out. I really want to see Justin Fields play at a high level at the quarterback position. I just don't know if it's going to be with the Jets at this point. Let's move over to running back. Now, like I said, no extensions, so Saquon Barkley, he was out. I went with Ty Johnson signing a 2-year, $4 million deal. And you may be wondering, why are you picking him? He's a backup. But the reason I'm picking him is because he played a big part in the Bills getting to the AFC Championship game. Yes, he was the backup to James Cook, but he was very good. He was a very good second running back and a guy that was great in both the run and pass game. I think there was a game where he had over 100 yards catching. So a player like Ty Johnson gives great value to a team. And if something does happen with James Cook this year, or let's say the Bills decide to trade him before the season starts, you have Ty Johnson that you can trust and that you know can make plays for you on your team. I don't think anything's going to happen with James Cook. I think he will be with the Bills week 1. But having Ty Johnson as their backup is exactly what this team needs. And he's going to have a lot of big plays for them this year. That's why I went with him. Now, for the most questionable, I went with Najee Harris signing a 1-year, $5 million deal. And this is mainly because there wasn't any big free agency deals that we saw by running backs this year. It wasn't like last year where we saw Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs sign big-time deals with teams. We just didn't have that this year. Harris has had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. But Pittsburgh fans will tell you those stats are kind of misleading because he wasn't really one of the top running backs in his 4 years with the Steelers. Now, the Steelers did not have a great offensive line. Let's get that out of the way. But at the same time, Harris could have played better. And right now, he's going into a perfect situation with the Chargers. A team that is going to focus on running the ball. He's going to be the lead back. Going to a guy like Jim Harbaugh that has that track record, and having a quarterback in Justin Herbert that is one of the top 15, top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Really, I'd go top 10. I know some people would probably put him outside top 10. I think he's top 10. So having that there is really everything that Harris needs to succeed. If he can't succeed with the Chargers, I don't know if he can succeed anywhere. So I think it's got an equally chance to work out and not work out this free agent signing, and it's only for 1 year. So this one was tough, but I think I made a good choice with Harris being the more questionable. Now, at wide receiver, I almost went with T. Higgins. I almost went with him. But in the end, I went with Stephon Diggs, signing a 3-year, $63.5 million deal with the Patriots. Now, the Patriots, they have a young quarterback in Drake May who they think is going to be very, very good. So you get him a veteran receiver like a Stephon Diggs that has played with very good quarterbacks during his time. He's played with Kirk Cousins, he's played with Josh Allen, and he's played with C.J. Stroud. So he knows what it means for a quarterback to be great in the NFL. He knows a great quarterback when he sees one. So having him with Drake May as the presumed number one receiver, because he's getting paid number one receiver money, I think that was a good idea. Now, he is coming off a torn ACL. It does look like he's recovering from that. It looks like he's actually ahead of schedule from that torn ACL, and really the contract is set up to where they could get out of it after 1 year. But the other reason as to why I think this is a very good deal is just because I will never doubt Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's a former 5th-round pick. He goes to Buffalo, and everybody's wondering how much of a disaster is this going to be, because Josh Allen hasn't really shown he can do much, and then Josh Allen has a breakout season, and Stephon Diggs had a big part of that, goes to Houston, and if he doesn't get hurt, he has another 1,000-yard season. That's the thing. If he doesn't get hurt, he gets 1,000 yards again. So really, I don't doubt Stephon Diggs, and I think this is actually going to work out for the New England Patriots. I think he's going to come in. He's going to really help out Drake May. I think Drake May's going to have a very big second year, and I think Diggs is going to have a big part of that. Now, going to the most questionable, I have Josh Palmer's 3-year, $29 million deal with the Buffalo Bills. And part of this is because Josh Palmer is getting paid number 2 receiver money when he really hasn't been a consistent number 2 receiver in this league quite yet. Now, maybe that changes this year, but also because Buffalo's kind of full when it comes to number 2 receivers. Keon Coleman was drafted in the 2nd round last year, and Khalil Shakir just got a contract extension. Those guys are really good 2-3 receivers. It seemed like Buffalo needed a number 1 this year unless they think one of those guys is going to take the number 1 receiver role during 2025. I don't know what Buffalo's plan is with this. It does leave a lot of questions for me as to whether it's going to work out or not. Then again, maybe I'm wrong and this turns out to be a great signing by the Bills and somebody steps up in the receiver room. But as of right now, I do have to ask that question, and I think it is valid. Okay, how did Tyler Conklin only get a 1-year, $3 million deal? Conklin is a very solid tight end in this league. I think he could have realistically gotten more than what he got with the Chargers this year. I don't know. It just seems like Chargers got a steal. I think Conklin's going to do very well for them this year. He's going to be a very good receiving option for Justin Herbert, and he's going to really perform well in Jim Harbaugh's system. This one, I really think the Chargers got one of the bigger steals in free agency. On the flip side of that, Juwan Johnson got a 3-year, $30.75 million deal with the New Orleans Saints. He's the 13th highest paid tight end in the league, and I don't know why. Don't get me wrong, Johnson is a solid tight end, okay? He's been solid for New Orleans, and he has been trending upward. I just don't think he's done enough to really get a contract like that where he's getting over $10 million a year. And you could make the argument that he is younger than Conklin, but he's only a year younger than Conklin. Conklin's 29, he's 28. So I think that just goes out the window with something like that. Because they're very similar tight ends in terms of receptions and yards last year. Maybe this is another one where I'm just overthinking it, and maybe he does really well for New Orleans this year, but I am going to question this. I just didn't see Johnson getting that big of a deal during this offseason. Okay, I think you all know who I'm going to go with as the best. It's going to be Ronnie Stanley, getting a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Ravens. That's the best free agent deal out of the offensive tackles, and really it might be the biggest steal out of any deal this free agency. The Ravens were patient with Ronnie Stanley after he suffered that ankle injury, and he spent years in recovery, and this year, in 2024, he was a Pro Bowler again, and he played in every single game, and the Ravens rewarded him with this contract that's paying him $20 million a year. And compared to some other deals that other tackles got, one of which I'll mention later, I think the Ravens are very happy with this deal, and Ravens fans were very happy to get Ronnie Stanley back. Baltimore, the previous year, they had to basically redo their offensive line, but getting Stanley back, that was a big signing by them, and really it's been a very good offseason for the Ravens. So getting Stanley back not only helps out the offensive line, but getting him at the price that they got him, man, Ravens, they know how to keep their players at home. Okay, now we move to a former division rival and former Steeler Dan Moore getting a 4-year, $82 million deal with the Titans. Why is this an issue? Because Dan Moore is not a great left tackle. There's a reason why Pittsburgh went tackle in back-to-back NFL drafts. And the Titans giving him this deal. Keep in mind, he got more years and more money per year than Ronnie Stanley. Dan Moore has never made a Pro Bowl. He's not even been consistent in the NFL. And he gets this kind of deal. This could end up being the worst contract this year. But at the end of the day, the Titans did have to do something with the offensive line. But they could have used the money a little bit better than giving Dan Moore this type of deal. And hey, maybe we're all wrong and Dan Moore ends up becoming a great player with the Tennessee Titans. But right now, I don't know if that's really going to happen. Alright, I'll give Tennessee some credit. Kevin Zeitler getting a 1-year, $9 million deal was a good move by the Titans. Kevin Zeitler can still play in this league. Okay? He is still a really good offensive guard, and I like this move by the Titans, bringing him in, protecting whoever's going to play quarterback next year. No idea. We can talk about that later. But getting Zeitler, I think that was a good move by them. Now, Aaron Banks getting a 4-year, $77 million deal. He is the 6th highest paid guard signed by the Packers, and honestly, I did not see that coming. And I don't know if anybody really saw that coming, because I did see a lot of people getting surprised by this free agent deal. And maybe this is another one where we're all wrong and he ends up being a great player for the Packers. But this is the most questionable, not truly the worst. And there are some question marks when it comes to this. So Packers better be right about Aaron Banks. Okay, now we're going to move over to defense, starting with the edge. Hassan Reddick gets a 1-year, $14 million deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We all know the drama that happened with Reddick, with the Jets in 2024. That's over. He signs with the Bucs, and the Bucs just have a way of getting the most out of defensive players. And Hassan Reddick, I mean, this guy, before getting traded to the Jets, he was considered a top 10 pass rusher in the NFL. The talent is still there. And him getting a 1-year perfect deal with the Buccaneers, I think that's going to end up being a great move by Tampa Bay. And I think Reddick's going to return to form and remind everybody he's still to be feared by NFL quarterbacks. Meanwhile, Chase Young got a 3-year, $51 million deal with the New Orleans Saints. He's a top 20 edge player in terms of money per year, and he has not hit double-digit sacks. Okay, now I know Chase Young, he's the former 2nd overall pick. He had all that hype, but he's struggled with injuries and consistency and questions if he's been trying hard every single play. So right now, it's a big question mark. Chase Young, he's going to have to prove people wrong. Again, he has not had a double-digit sack season yet in his time. And he was drafted in 2020. He's got to change that at some point. Along the defensive line, it's Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell is returning to Arizona on a one-year, $5.5 million deal. Now, to start with, Calais Campbell still has plenty of football left. All right, it just seems like the older he gets, the better he becomes. All right, that's just the thing with Calais Campbell. He can still play. The second part of that, he's going back to where it all began in Arizona. This is truly going to be his final season in the league. I like it when players go back to where it all began for them. And Arizona shocked people last year. I mean, Arizona took a step in the right direction. And maybe this year, if they continue to make the right moves, they could end up back in the playoffs. And Campbell could be a big part of that. So I really like this signing by Arizona. Now, for most questionable, it's Javon Kinlaw signed a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Washington Commanders. The Commanders were the biggest surprise team in the NFL last year. They got to the NFC Championship, rookie quarterback with Jayden Daniels, and now they want to take that next step. They want to get back to the Super Bowl. So they signed Kinlaw, who finally showed why he was a first-round pick with the Jets in 2024. But he's making $15 million per year. Now, can he continue that good play? That's going to be the big question. If he can't, it's going to be seen as a big-time miss by Washington. But if he can continue it, then it's going to be seen as a great deal by them. This has as many factors to where it can go wrong as to where it can go right. That's why I put it here as the most questionable. I did something weird with linebacker. I put Dre Greenlaw's 3-year, $31.5 million deal with the Broncos as the best. Greenlaw, we all know what happened. He suffered a torn Achilles in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, barely played this year, but when he's on the field, he is one of the better inside linebackers in the NFL. He teamed with Fred Warner. They had a just amazing duo at the inside linebacker position. So now he's going to Denver, a team that also surprised people last year. They got back to the playoffs with the rookie quarterback. Now they're looking to take the next step. And they're hoping Greenlaw is going to be a big part of that. But he has had some great time during his 49er days. But he's also the most questionable. So he's the best, but he's also the most questionable. And the reason he's most questionable is he fully recovered from that torn Achilles? And without Fred Warner, can he still be the same impact player that he was when he was a 49er? That's why he's there. And also because I didn't really have any other ideas with linebacker, and I just thought this would be fun to do. Okay, cornerback. The Lions lost Carlton Davis to the New England Patriots. So in return, they signed DJ Reed, the top corner in free agency, to a 3-year, $48 million deal. I love this move by the Lions. This is a team that was just ravaged by injuries on the defensive front, and they lose Carlton Davis, but they get DJ Reed. Again, he was the top corner on the market this year, and they got him for less money than what Davis signed with the Patriots. I really love it when teams can do that. So not only did they replace Davis, but they also got it at a cheaper deal than what he got with the Patriots. And I think with Detroit, if they can stay healthy this year, they really are going to have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl. So the Lions, they are still a team to look out for. And this Reed signing, along with another year with their first-round pick from last year, I think the Lions defense is definitely going to recover as long as they can stay healthy this year. That can't happen 2 years in a row, can it? On the other side of that, Brandon Stevens getting a 3-year, $36 million deal with the Jets. As somebody that watched a lot of Ravens games in 2024, he gave up a lot of big plays, and he gave up the most receiving yards in the NFL in 2024. Now, he was going to get the ball thrown his way a lot because Marlon Humphrey was in the slot, one of his best seasons since he came into the league, and Nate Wiggins had a very good rookie season. But as I mentioned, he gave up a lot of big plays, and the Ravens' pass defense was ranked as the worst in the NFL for a good part of last season, and he was one of the main factors of that. So with Brandon Stevens getting this deal, I hope it works out for him and he ends up becoming a very good corner for the Jets. But as of right now, I don't know if that's going to happen. And finally, we're going to do the safety position. Justin Reid getting a 3-year, $31.5 million deal with the Saints, I have as the best move by a safety this offseason. See, I'm not just hating on the Saints and their offseason moves. Now, Justin Reid, he was kind of the forgotten man in that Chiefs defense because all the attention was being taken by Chris Jones or George Karlaftis and a few others. But Justin Reid has been a very good safety ever since he came into the league, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. I think the Saints got a good one when they gave Reid this contract. Now, the Panthers getting Trayvon Moehrig, and I'm hoping I said that right, I'm sorry if I didn't. They gave him a 3-year, $51 million deal. He's being paid as the 6th highest safety in the NFL in terms of dollars per year. And Trayvon just hasn't performed like one of the top safeties in the NFL. I can name 10 safeties that I think are better than him, one of which is Justin Reid. This is one where I get it, the Panthers did need to make some moves this offseason, but Trayvon, I just don't think was one of the moves that they had to make. He wasn't that great of a safety with the Raiders. And again, maybe I'm wrong and maybe he turns out to live up to the deal, but as of right now, this is one of the most questionable decisions made by a team during the offseason. And that's it. Those were my thoughts on the deals that were signed during this free agency time period in the NFL. My next video is going to be my mock draft. Sam and I should be working on that very, very soon. And who's going to go number 1? I have no idea. But we did get a good idea of what the Titans might do because they did not make many moves at the quarterback position, if any. We still have no idea who's going to be their starter, so it looks like maybe they will go signal caller first overall after all. Alright guys, as always, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you think was the best free agency signing? Who do you think has a lot of questions going into 2025? And as always, I'll see you guys next time.